Hello and welcome to another episode of the AstraZeneca Women in Tech series. I'm your host, Ben Bentham, and today I'm joined by Federica de Cristofaro from our end user services team based in Macclesfield, UK. Fed, welcome to the episode. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Ben. How are you?
Excellent. I'm really good, thank you, and I'm pleased to have you join me today. I know the viewers won't know, but we've tried to make this work a few times, and it's been delayed a few times. But it's great to have you back on.
It's good to be here.
Good. So to start off with then, can you share a bit about what you do here at AstraZeneca and about the team that you work with in?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a project manager in end user services, part of the major programs team. I've only been in this role for about a month. Previously to that, I was in commercial IT, and previously to that, I've been in a few different teams. I've been at AstraZeneca for 13 years, wow. And this is just the last of a few of the roles in IT that I've had.
Great. So you said you're a project manager. So why did you choose project management? And I guess what interests you most about that role?
I kind of think the project management chose me. So it's I started off as a project analyst a good 13 years ago when I joined AstraZeneca, and I joined the team because it was mainly because it was in a team that was delivering a global program. So I liked the idea of having a role that touched many different countries and many different lives across the globe. As a project manager, you get to meet lots of people anyway, because you get to go into different teams, different set of people, different set of stakeholders all the time. So that's the part of the job that I enjoy the best, and why I probably decided to stay in project management once I had the first role there.
Oh, good. And is there any challenging parts of being a project manager? I imagine there is.
Well, every time you start a new project, the starting is difficult. I think once you get yourself into a rhythm, and you start to know who your stakeholders are, what the objectives of the projects is, then it starts all becoming well. But starting off, understanding why you're there, who is there with you, and what the objectives of the projects are is quite challenging, especially when you start picking up projects that you know nothing about. So you're not only starting to know new people, new processes, but new systems, new technologies, new everything, new subject matters. With every move that I make, with every project that I take, it's a brand new subject and brand new sets of people, and that can be quite challenging, although it's also quite fun.
I bet. Good. So did you always know that growing up that you'd be in technology? And I guess how did you make that move into the technology world?
No. So if you speak to my friends, they laugh that I ended up in IT. I was probably the least likely person to end up in IT. I always thought I'd do something creative. I did communications and marketing at university. I wanted to be in advertising and maybe work for a magazine, like doing photo shoots or TV adverts, and it just didn't happen, really. Mainly because I think when I finished university, I kind of needed to do something, and I took a job that was based on my languages. I speak 4 languages. Wow. And I ended up working in kind of like a call center type of role, and I think that's where I started, working with systems and processes and peoples. It wasn't an IT company; it was an oil company. But at the time, I think it had nothing to do with IT. It was logistics. But that's when I started to take an interest in it. So I was in my mid-20s when that happened. So I definitely did not intend to be here. And as my career progressed, it got more and more IT focused. So it went from supply chain to then business analysis, and then to IT. I kind of feel like I kind of took the leap from the business to IT, and it was completely unintentional. It felt like the natural progression of the job, even though it was never meant to be. But looking back, it's probably where I should have been all along. I think if I were to go back to my 18-year-old self choosing a course from university, I'd probably say, hey, you might want to take that computer science course.
Oh, brilliant. So, and what languages do you speak then? So the 4 languages. I'm
So I'm
assuming English
Italian.
you include. It's
Yeah,
Italian.
English, Italian, French, and Spanish. Yeah.
Wow. And do you find that helps, especially if you're working on global projects with maybe international colleagues? The
It
languages.
does and it doesn't. So I think I've worked on some projects with Italy, and obviously that's helped. Although sometimes when there's other people in the room, you've got to revert to English, and therefore it's a bit awkward when you know that you both speak Italian and you're having to speak in English. But it certainly does help. It also breaks down quite a lot of barriers. So, for example, if you speak to folk in Guadalajara, having the odd exchange in Spanish kind of helps break down some barriers and start the conversations flowing a little bit easier. Certainly.
Excellent. That's really good. So many, if they could look at your career and your whole journey, would say that you've taken quite an unconventional route into a tech career. And I say unconventional in that I don't think there is a proper way of doing or getting into tech anymore. There's so many different ways you can do that. But I guess how the narrative is that you go and do a computer science degree and then you work your way up the ladder. And you've had a very different way of getting to where you are. I guess what advice would you give to other women that may be in a similar situation, maybe, and if we're appealing to those maybe that are going through schooling or university and actually are the least technical or technology focused people out there, much probably like how you were when you were growing up, to see where you are now, kind of really embedded in technology. What advice could you give to them?
It's don't be afraid. Just take the plunge. I think there's a preconception that IT is, sitting at your computer coding, your little skinny man typing away at the keyboard, and it couldn't be further from the truth. There's so many different walks of life that come into IT, so many different experiences, backgrounds. I've met people that have had, backgrounds in advertising coming to IT. I was right. I made the right choice there. Teachers that have started careers in IT, and I don't think there is a right or wrong way of doing it. I think if the role is right, if it interests you, I mean, just try it. What's the worst that can happen? You learn something new, and you learn you don't like it. Move on.
Definitely, that's really good feedback. And one thing I want to touch upon. So you've lived in 7 countries. You lived in 7 countries by the age of 18, which is a lot. I know, personally, I've lived in probably 7 different places in the UK by the time I was 18. But 7 countries is the next level up. How has that shaped you in kind of what you've done in your career? Has it made you more confident?
It's definitely shaped me to be who I am today. I've lived not just in 7 different countries, but 7 very different countries. So from Central America to Africa to Europe to Middle East. And obviously I was very young at the time, and therefore in my most formative years. And I think it's definitely broadened my horizons in every possible way. I look at the world as just one big place, actually one small place, really. And I think it's during the pandemic is probably the first time where it felt like it's not as close as it has been, because it's felt, you could feel the distance. Although you've got all the technology that brings you together, you start panicking that you can't go and see your loved ones. But at the end of the day, whatever happens anywhere, we're all aiming to be, better people. We want to make a change in our career. We want to inspire other people to do what they like. And I think it's incredible to see how no matter where you are in the world, you all want the same thing. And I think when you bring that into work and recognizing that those differences in, the way we speak, the way we look, the way we act at work, don't mean that you want different things or that you're inspired to different things. It just means that you can bring a different perspective to it. I think it's been phenomenal. And I think the reason that I've been at AstraZeneca for 13 years, and my previous company, actually, I worked there for 5 years. That was also a big global company with global roles. It's having those different conversations with different people across the globe that it always brings out innovation. And yeah, I think it's great. I wouldn't change it. And I think it's the reason I've been here for so long.
Excellent. I mean, I think you could probably write a book on your life experiences. I'd certainly be the first.
Maybe one day.
Good. And on to the last question. And Fed, it's about, what more do you think we could be doing to really support greater female representation across technology?
I think generally in the world, it has gotten a lot better. I think some of these stereotypes that I talked about earlier are changing. I see it already in the schools where my children are. They've just had STEM week, actually, and both my kids, my boy and my girl, probably my girl more than my boy, have come back so enthusiastic about the things that they've learned around engineering, technology, even math, which surprises me because I was never any good at maths. And so I think carry on doing these things, promoting it in schools from a young age, making it available to all. And I think what AstraZeneca is doing is also very important. And I start hearing about other companies picking this up, about promoting women within their environment, not just in IT, but senior roles in general, having that more available to us, and having women in senior leadership roles like Cindy, like Paula Donahue, who are there and they feel like reachable. I don't know how to say, maybe I'm saying this the wrong way, but they feel like it's something that you can strive for. It's not something unattainable. And if you wanted that position of CDIO, you can have it because it's there for you to grab. Obviously, maybe not that specific position, but it's something to aspire to. And I think if we carry on doing that, it will inspire younger people, but also people maybe my age who are working as a project manager, as a business project manager somewhere, to take that leap.
Wow, that's fantastic. I couldn't put it any better. So yeah, a really good comment. Thank you. And that brings us into the episode. So it has flown by. Fed, I want to say thank you for coming on. Honestly, I think you're such a unique person. I could listen to you talking for hours and hours. I'm sure there's so much more that we could speak about, but maybe we'll leave that for another time. So thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben. It's been a pleasure. It's been good to be here.
Good stuff. And to the viewers, thanks again for watching. If you've enjoyed the session, please feel free to engage or share this with someone. And if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the series for all the latest episodes. But in the meantime, please do take care, and we'll see you in a few weeks.